Good evening and welcome to Motivational Monday with Luann B. How's everybody doing tonight? It was a beautiful day in sunny Minnesota. Finally, today we've had such a long week of rain and more rain and more rain. All the golf courses are underwater. And so it's great to see the sunshine today and feel it on my face. How about you, Patty? Did you get sunshine in Wisconsin today?
We did get some sunshine. It was awesome. We've had a lot of rain too.
I'm here this evening with my friend Patty Blakesley, author, writer extraordinaire, and my partner in crime on our upcoming writers retreat. And Patty has been studying with an author, right, Patty?
Yes, Judy Bridges.
Judy Bridges. Shut Up and Write.
Shut Up and Write.
So we want to inspire all those aspiring authors out there this evening who are considering or have ever said to themselves, I want to write, or I have a story to tell, or I'd like to be an author, or you're already writing articles or things of that nature, that you too can do it, right? What was the quote Patty just gave me today? I knew it was meant for this evening. It says, whatever you can do or dream you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. How do you pronounce that person's name? Goth? Goth?
Goethe. I think it's pronounced Goethe.
Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And so that's really what it takes to get started. I can attest to that. I had the dream of my hug book. There's the bookmark of the cover of the I Hug book. I had that dream 3 years ago. I started with an outline that flowed out of me in that moment when the idea came. And then I started gathering thoughts around that to put together stories of wearing the I Hug button, to get transformational messages from other people who talk about the value of hugs and the importance of the powerful human connection that is a hug in our life today. And I know for me as a writer, things come in and out, right? So for a while I'd be focused on it, and then I might lose focus on it and do something else. One of my dear mentors in the world, Dr. Ivan Meisner, he coaches people in the BNI organization on how to become authors. And he says, whatever you do, just write it down. The first thing you write is not going to be perfect. It won't be the finished product, but write it, right? And capture those thoughts. And so he carries a notebook around. And so anytime he has an idea or a thought for a story or an article, he jots that down, and then he can go back and reference that. He has mentored a dear friend of mine, Tara Schmackel, and Tara does this electronically, right? Lots of people do on their iPad. They have those tools where they can just, boom, click on a folder, write a real quick story or thought, and so that you keep track of it. So that's 2 good tips already for tonight, and we just got started. The other one that's coming to my mind. The other one that's coming to my mind right now, and I flow with what's downloaded to me, is that writing a blog, which is what Patty's about to do, is that you write your blog, and then at over a year's time or what have you, you put all your blog messages together into a book and get a book. So Patty, tell the audience what you're going to be doing in your blog.
Well, my blog is called Every Day is a Gift Tour, because I have the opportunity to travel around the country in my Prius and visit people and go to events that I have wanted to go to and see people that I want to see in their actual home. The other day I was driving around here. I'm in Door County, which is, if you think of Wisconsin as a hand, this little thumb is that peninsula, and Green Bay is here, and this is all Lake Michigan. So I'm driving around, and I'm passing a beautiful field. It's a beautiful spring day. And out in the field is a sign that says, I think it says good thoughts.
Nice.
And it has a little wooden crow on top, you know? And
Yeah.
then I went closer to the sign, and somebody had added something else, and it said, be caring.
Nice.
So care about people. So that was my gift for the day. I got a message from a field. No houses, nothing. Just a field and a sign.
Did you take a picture of it?
Oh, I absolutely did take a picture of it.
See, so Patty's going to gather these little experiences over her journey around the country. And how many months are you going to be out there on the journey? Oh, she's showing us.
We're not sure. I'm trying to show you the picture, but there's.
I see it. I can see it.
Thought. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I started last week, although I'm here for three weeks in Door County, but I am going to be traveling for several months through September when I come to Rochester, and you and I are both going to be at the event that your friends are putting on.
Yeah, the Women in Spirituality Conference here in September. That's a good one for our listeners to be aware of. It's September, oh my gosh, I want to say 17th, but I think it's really the 18th and 19th. So I got to look it up quick so I give them good information. But yeah, so Patty's going to blog along her journey, and then by the time she's done with this beautiful journey, she's going to have a book.
It's true.
September. It is Saturday, September 16th and Sunday, September 17th, Women and Spirituality Conference. Look it up, Google it, in Rochester, Minnesota. Join us. It's an amazing, amazing conference that I have been speaking at for the last 3 or 4 years. It used to be in Mankato. It's coming to Rochester, and I've gathered a lot of other women colleagues of mine like Patty, who will be speaking among 80 different workshops on spirituality and healing. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're talking about tips for writers, and I think one of the things that I was practicing today in the writing workshop is to visualize, think of a topic, and if it's in something that you remember, then visualize how it felt, or if it's something you're imagining, if you're writing a fantasy book, think about all the details and try to remember, the senses, that there's something you see, something you smell, something you hear, something you taste, or something you touch. Because all those senses need to be engaged with your writing if it's to be as rich as it can be.
So you need to describe the feeling of all of those senses in your story in order to fully encapsulate or engage the reader.
Right.
Draw them into the story. Now, Patty, is that true whether it's a fictional novel or a true story? That if I'm repeating a story of an experience.
I think that for a written piece of, like in an exposition or information, maybe not so much, but you still need to pull your reader in. So the best way, and you'll see this now in advertising, is to tell a story. And that story will speak to some aspect of your life. And it might be just an emotional connection. So you might not, smell something, but you might smell something that reminds you of your grandmother's house.
Right.
You might, see something that brings to mind a past reference for your own life. And I think the thing that is really clear to me is we all have a lot of universal connections. We don't even know that something we think is very special to us is also something that's special to the person next door or the person you're sitting on a bus with, because we don't share that kind of detail, with strangers. But as you meet friends or as you read writing, you find out that we all have a lot of commonality that we don't recognize.
So
And I think that
so what I was thinking of is that I just said this to someone the other day. I was having an experience with the noise of a train going by. We were talking on Zoom, and a train was going by her place.
Yeah.
And we got into talking about that trains are a nice sound for her and I, because my grandfather used to work on the train tracks, and his house was close to the train tracks. So it was always a soothing sound to me, and it always makes me think of my grandfather.
Right.
Telling stories like that, right? That draws in people emotionally and shows the connection that we happen to have together. And the same thing. So I never thought about that from the senses before. So that's a great tip.
Mm-hmm. You wanted tips. Okay, so do a little meditation. Engage the senses. Maybe one and specifically like the sound, but it'll bring the others to the front too.
Right. If you can cue into one, then look for the others.
Idea about carrying a notebook, I think that can be repeated because it's a great tip. Writers have always a notebook, sometimes 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. I was talking to a friend and she's got so many, she doesn't know what her kids are going to do if she should pass away because she's got all this writing, and it won't necessarily mean anything to anyone else, but it means something to her. And
Right.
I think that one of the tips that I might give to people is it's never too late to sit down and write something that you want maybe for your kids to have, or you want to share with someone that you don't get to see very often. Because we all travel so much in this world, we make connections with people that we might not see. And I know letter writing is sort of passe, and we do texts and we do emails and calls, but there's something very special about a document that you can look at later and see that someone said X that you really remember and you cherish. So I think of people out there, everybody has their stories, family stories, their own personal stories. And I encourage everybody to explore writing some of those out and keeping them and using them as gifts even.
Right.
Children.
So, and in today's technology and today's era, right, what you write doesn't even need to be published to anyone.
No.
Right? It can be your own memoirs. They're saved on your computer or in those notebooks, and they'll be very precious to your children when you're gone, right?
We can do, yeah.
And that's one thing, okay? Then the second thing is you can literally create a book that is just like a family book. My father-in-law wrote a book that really was just used internally to inform the family about his history, which we now carry and have, right? And then, putting it out electronically, like I've done with the iHug book, right, is free and cost effective, right? I spent more money on boosting posts on Facebook than I just got the bill. I went, oh my gosh, I got a little crazy. Because you go $50 here, $20 there, whatever, and you think it's not much, and then the end of the month bill comes along, and you're going, whoa! But you don't have to do that either, right? You can get it out on Amazon as an ebook, and you can choose to leave it there. Or I just found out they actually now have print on demand. Okay? So there's so many things that we're going to talk about at our upcoming retreat, because there's so many different progressions of ways that you can do this, that literally I can now upload the I Hug book to Amazon, and they will print it on demand when someone orders one. So you're not putting up money and publishing thousands of copies or 500 copies or anything like that up front. Now that's the next step. You can do that, right? You can choose to self-publish and have so many copies printed, and it's based on the cost of, volume pricing, how many copies you're going to print. And now Patty's engaged in, tell us about the Inspire book. It's releasing tomorrow. So Patty's in a compilation book called, go ahead, Patty.
Inspired by the Passion.
I'm going to repeat that just because you cut out on my side. Inspired by the Passion Test, and it's a compilation book of how many authors?
I think there's a total of 16, including Janet Atwood, who was the best-selling author of The Passion Test, and Jeff Affleck is in it, and the rest of us are from across the country, the world, really. And each of us wrote a little chapter about how the Passion Test has inspired us. And I found that taking the Passion Test really connected me once again with writing. But I've always written, but I've made it more of a commitment, and I'm enjoying it more, I think, because I just feel like I can do this. Just like you wrote your I Hug book and you put it out there, and then we just sort of see what happens with the output of our writing. I don't think many people go into writing to initially make money. If that's your goal, that probably won't be achieved. Yes,
No.
some people luckily do become very famous and make a lot of money, but it's a rare event in the world. But there are ways, and I'm going to talk about that at our writers retreat, about what I call niche marketing of your book. So there are ways to augment your income with writing, but you have to seek them out.
And it's to me, it's a calling card. It's a calling card, and in my case, of a message, a movement that I believe in. I really more want the book I Hug to create the I Hug movement, and to use it as a calling card to create the movement that other people wear this little button and spread hugs and joy in the world, rather than it's about making a lot of money off the book. But as everyone knows, I love to do public speaking. So it's a calling card for people to see my expertise and what my stories are about, so that they can get a glimpse of would they want me to come speak in their organization, at their group, what have you. So that's what Ivan Misner's always called his books, are really a calling card of your expertise in that area, or your expertise as an author, if it be a novelist.
Right, and it gives you validity. So you're an author or you're a writer, and now you have a book and you're published, and it opens doors for you. I was talking to one of the women I met through this writing workshop, and she has been asked now to write something for a book someone's editing. So you never know where you're writing, once you put it out in the world, where it will go and what it'll pull into you. You just don't know. And that's sort of the fun of it, I think, and the beauty of it.
It is, and also can be for some people the scary part of it, though, too, right? And so I'm really here as a voice to say, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyone could do it. And I have been so pleased and blessed, feeling blessed at the results. The feedback I'm getting from the readers really is the greatest joy that I could have, is that I'm connecting with people and they're feeling joy and they're reconnecting to hugs, or in some cases even questioning their relationship with hugs and why they haven't been a hugger, right? And so it's so cool to see that feedback coming through. And you know, one of my colleagues and friends was monitoring my book release the day that I did it, and I was not. I was just out doing my thing. And I actually made number 10 on the Amazon bestseller list. Pretty cool. Yay! And so I'm pretty excited about that. And she took a screen clip of it. Now it just to be clear, because we're talking to writers out there right now, it is number 10 in the Amazon bestseller list in that particular category of self-help. Okay, so it's not on the overall big Amazon list. What was that, Patty?
Was it just for that moment in time, or does it stay number 10 for a while?
No, it's just for that moment in time. It's just for that moment, because it's all about volume sold in an hour.
Right.
So in that,
is why we're trying to get everyone to buy our book Tuesday.
Tuesday. At what time again, Patty?
At
Tuesday?
11 o'clock Tuesday morning.
11 o'clock Tuesday morning. I got to write that down because I haven't seen the emails on that. 11 a.m. Tuesday.
I've got to check if it's.
Is the
I'm not sure what time.
Is it
doesn't help you if you're
No, it's got to be specific. Can it be bought as an ebook or only in hard copy? Patty, do you know?
I believe it's only in hard copy. I think it's only in hard copy at this point in time.
Okay.
I think they should have us all read our own. Wouldn't that be fun?
And do an audio? Well, that's the 7?
I think it's 11 o'clock my time.
Which would be 11 o'clock my time. 11 a.m. Central.
9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, 11 o'clock Central time.
Okay. I'll make a note on my calendar. And you know, this
book launch party on Facebook.
Yes, and so our colleague Ulrike told me today that I can still do that, and we ramp up for that, and we do it another time, right? And so that just because I released my book on May 7th doesn't mean it's over, right? That it just sits there. So I've been recommended to go out and do, well, she said book signings, and I said, but mine's not a hardback. And she said, then you go and you volunteer to do book readings. And then Ulrike said we can do a launch again, but let's get it so it's uploaded to that print on demand so people can get a hard copy if they want. And it's free to do that with Amazon. And then they take the cost of the printing out of the sale of the book, and they print on demand. That's pretty cool. And that we're going to do it.
You can have hard copy.
Right. Then I can have some hard copies. Yes, I could order a bunch. Right. Yeah. So that's so interesting. And then do another launch. So I'll be personally preparing for that. So here again, these are all things that we are learning that I know you can go online and learn from a lot of other people who are doing launches, and they charge you a lot of money to go through their online classes and stuff like that. I've been listening to some of those free webinars to get you started myself and see that people are doing that. What Patty and I prefer is face-to-face. And so we love to hold retreats and really bond and find support with one another, right? And so there's small groups of people that come together. And I know Patty and I have been supporting each other for the last year as she worked on Inspire, and she's also working on her karate book, right? What's the karate book title again?
Black Belt Tips for Living Fully.
Black Belt Tips for Living Fully. And Patty's been supporting me as I've been putting together the hug book. And so it takes some support. to get started in this process and to be able to follow through with what your commitments are. And that's what our writers retreat is about, sharing what we've learned, sharing our love and support with you, and helping you to foster those ideas of what is it that you want to write about and how do you begin, and or just giving you the time if you've already got the idea, you've already engaged in some of the writing. It's an open space of time to give you time to write. And so I'm going to quickly share a screenshot of our event. There you go, Inspired Women Writers Retreat, coming up June 2nd through the 4th, 2017 in Spring Green, Wisconsin. It's about 45 minutes outside of Madison. We're going to start Friday night at 6 and run until 1 on Sunday, although I have a bonus offer. I just found out that we actually have the facility rented till Monday at noon. And so people, again, could have all Sunday evening to work on writing after we've technically concluded the retreat at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and have that quiet space in this beautiful organic farm facility to write and hone their thoughts, possibly sketch out their plan for writing their book or getting it published. Beth Anderson will be joining us, and she is my publisher. She is going to help me upload to Amazon and learn all the tips to do that. And she's going to be sharing those with us. Our friend Diane Martin is going to be joining us, and she's actually joining us as a participant, but she stepped up and said, I have all this great information I've been gathering I'd like to share. And so it's really, like it says here, 12 women coming together to support one another in their writing efforts and gain that ongoing support system that will help you to fulfill your writing dreams, because we'll be there for you ongoing after the retreat. So there's just a few places left. It's $397. And so if anyone listening is interested, jump on my website, luannb.com, and go to the event calendar and to the June dates, and you will find this link to register, and we'd love to have you join us. Right, Patty?
Absolutely. And another tip that you mentioned, the ongoing support, out of these types of events, you can create a very dynamic writers group where you can get support from, share your writing with the group. And with Zoom now, you can do that with anyone, anywhere. So that's something to think about in the future is, if you're really committed to writing, find a way where you can, like Luann and I did, share with each other about our goals and what we were writing. And you can do that in a very simple manner now.
Which reminds me of one last tip that I can provide, and that I learned at our last writers retreat that we did in Pepin, Wisconsin, which I plan to repeat next spring again as well. Anyway, is that beta readers. Beta readers was new language to me, and we can become beta readers for one another. And what that is that you give your manuscript, whatever part of it you have done, to a fellow writer, and they read through it and give you feedback on, is it making sense? Is it flowing? Does it need grammatical corrections maybe in a few places? And this is kind of before you give it to an editor, that you have a beta readers go through it and give you some feedback. Are you on the right track? Is it a cohesive message? That kind of thing. So that was new to me. And what I'd like to create out of these retreats is a network of women writers who will support one another in that way, and in just giving moral support to one another, to encouragement when you're feeling down like things aren't getting done. And that reminds me, gosh, we'll also be talking about Women of Words. Women of Words is a collaborative website that Beth is creating that helps women who have a message have a voice, and that be writers and speakers and publishers and those editors and those people that are going to be supportive as well. And so we'll introduce women of words at the retreat and invite people to join in that website to promote themselves as a writer and a speaker or publisher or whoever they are. Last but not least, if you just need to get away and you want to hang out with some awesome, amazing women, you join us. Right, Patty?
Absolutely. We'll be laughing. We'll be crying probably. We'll be having a lot of fun, though.
And we'll be having a lot of fun. Yeah. And I'm so looking forward to it because I could do a retreat, I think, once a month because I just love hanging out with fabulous, supportive women, and it fills up my bucket. And I just know every time that I go that I get the love and support that I need. So, Ryder, whatever your dreams are, feel free to join us. We've got a few places left in June. What was that, Patty?
You don't have to be a writer per se. You can just come and explore and have a retreat and be inspired.
Exactly. And be inspired. All right, Patty, this was awesome. I think we shared a lot of great tips tonight.
I've enjoyed it very much, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in Spring Green, Wisconsin.
Spring Green, Wisconsin, yes.
And I love the name of the farm, Aldebaran.
Okay, now you got to explain to people what that means. What's the meaning behind that?
Aldebaran is a star in, I believe it's in the Bull constellation.
That's right. Well, we're going to explore that weekend too, because I'm sure there's a spiritual meaning behind why we landed in this particular facility at this particular time. And
knowing you and me.
Yes.
It's got to be amazing.
Yeah. So we'll explore that weekend as well. So you like spiritual discussions and reaching your full potential, and please join us. So Good night for now from Motivational Monday with Luann B. And I will see you next Monday.